The Christmas Pig, written by J.K. Rowling, illustrated by Jim Field. Chapter 19 Horsey Things. An icy blast of air hit them as they walked outside. To Jack's surprise, because it had been night when he'd left the land of the living, the sun was only just setting outside the warehouse. Snow was falling from a strange sky, which looked as though it was made of painted wood, though it was far, far higher than any ceiling in the land of the living. Jack could see a few distant finding holes in the wooden sky, but not nearly as many as they'd been in the ceiling of Miss Lade. The land all around them was bleak and empty, a stony wasteland which stretched away into the distance, with only clumps of thistles growing there. Between the barren ground and the swirling snow, it was the most unwelcoming place Jack had ever seen. He gazed over his shoulder at the wall of Miss Lade and saw to his amazement that the door they'd just come through had vanished. And then it struck him that there was no way back now, unless he found DP. He was starting to fear that the land of the lost was even stranger and more complicated than he'd first thought. For instance, what would the things who'd gone through the other doors see when they got to the other side? And most importantly, which door had DP gone through? Then Jack heard the sound of hooves. He and the rest of the group, who apart from the comb and the battery included a little plastic ruler, an eraser in the shape of a panda, some shoelaces, and a pair of chopsticks, turned to see a number of horse-shaped things approaching. There were plastic ponies, a cuddly pink unicorn, a pottery cart horse, and the latest of the lot, a big wicker donkey carrying baskets of plastic fruit on either side of its saddle. At the head of all these different things rode another loss adjuster, a pair of kitchen scissors wearing two black hats, one for each of his handles. He was mounted, ends downward, on a wooden horse with squeaky wheels. "Hurry up, get on," snapped the scissors. "No," he added sharply to Jack and the Christmas Pig, who were headed toward two of the plastic ponies. "You were the biggest. You can share the donkey." So Jack and the Christmas Pig clambered onto the donkey, which gave a groan and said, "Mind my wicker. It can snap, you know." Most of the other things had great difficulty mounting their horses. The comb, the battery, the ruler, the chopsticks kept sliding off, and the scissors ended up instructing the shoelaces to tie them on. Just as everybody had successfully mounted, a wailing klaxon sounded from behind the wall of Miss Lade. "Oh dear," said Scissors, startled. "That's not good." "What does it mean?" asked the comb, sounding panicked. "It means," said Scissors, "that something is where it shouldn't be." Jack and the Christmas Pig exchanged worried looks. Jack was sure the Christmas Pig was thinking the same as him. Somehow, the loss adjusters knew Jack was there, even though he'd avoided questioning. "Will the loser come?" whispered the ruler, who was trembling. "Maybe," said the Scissors. "If a thing's disobeyed the rules, the losers will want to catch them and eat them. You disobey the rules, you become surplus, and surplus gets eaten. Always has. Always will. That's the law." Scissors cast a sharp look over the group of things on their horses. "You've all been allocated right and proper, haven't you?" he asked. They all nodded and said yes. Scissors kicked his wooden horse on. its squeaky wheels began to turn, and all of them set off along a snowy trail that led around the outskirts of the wasteland. Well, if you're lying, we'll find out soon enough, said Scissors in a grim voice.